Hello and welcome back. This is Candace from Candoodle, and today I'm going to be showing you how I like to make my galaxy backgrounds, and we're going to be making this galaxy reveal wheel thank you card. So we are going to start with my go-to for galaxies, which are peacock feathers, picked raspberry, wilted violet, blueprint sketch, and black soot. And for each of them, I'm going to come in and lay down my first color, and when I go to my second color, I am going to use the blending stump from the previous color without any additional ink, and to just go back over that color and blend it out a little bit, just to try and get a smoother gradation between each of the colors until I'm happy with it. You are going to see me doing this on two panels throughout, because one is going to be the front panel and the other is going to be the background panel, and that'll make a little bit more sense later. But for right now, I'm just kind of showing you doing it on one panel so you don't have to watch it twice. And I am using just a piece of scrap cardstock under my fingers so I don't get any fingerprints in my ink. When I'm happy with how that looks, I come in around the sides with blueprint sketch to kind of give it like a vignette look around it. And then once I've gone in once with the blueprint sketch, I am going to come back around and do the same thing with black soot. So I'm using just Tim Holtz blending stumps up until this point, but then I do come in to kind of give a softer blend with a life-changing blending brush from Picket Fence, just to carry that black soot ink out a little bit further, but make it a bit softer so it doesn't completely go over all the color. Then I'm coming in with the same black soot color, but this time in regular distress ink, just because this color is a little bit more vibrant. So it is going to give a darker hue to the edges. So I'm going all the way around the edges with that. And then I'm taking my Distress Oxide blending stump without any additional Oxide ink and blending that back out. And then I'm coming in and going to trace around my reveal wheel just so I can see where I have to blend that, because this is what's going to have my stamping on it. So I'm using the exact same colors and doing the same thing to that reveal wheel so it matches. So now I'm going to move on to the spritzing. So first I'm coming in just with some water in my distress sprayer, and I'm doing that to all of my backgrounds so they match. I'm also going to come in with some Lawn Fawn liquid Stardust, and I just watered that down a little bit on a piece of acetate, and then I'm flicking that on as well. I started by flicking it off the acetate, but I do move on to my finger so I can get some smaller sort of spurts coming out rather than large droplets. And I did do that to all of the pieces, I just didn't show it on camera. And then once I'm happy with how that looks, I move on to my white spatters, which I am using Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White, but you could use any sort of white acrylic paint for this. I do like to water mine down a bit just because this is so opaque. And then I flick that on, and we are moving on to the next step, which is cutting out the reveal wheel. So I cut out the reveal wheel with the notch from the front panel, and I'm keeping that negative space, which is the part outside of the reveal wheel. And then I cut without the notch, just the puzzle piece from my background galaxy, the one that doesn't have the complete center there. And then I also cut that puzzle piece from a piece of black cardstock. And stick with me because this will make sense later, I promise. And then I'm going to take my reveal wheel and cut that out as well as the back piece. And at this point, I'm going to assemble it together with my brad to just see how things are looking. And I didn't like it because the colors of where the notch is not the same as the overall colors. So I wasn't happy with how this was looking. So I decided to switch gears. I'm going to reblend another reveal wheel, but this time I am only using the peacock feathers, blueprint sketch, and black soot, because that's where, if you can see on the side there, the notch is those colors. So I just blended that till I was happy with it, and then I put it behind to see how it was looking. It was still a little bit too bright, so I did add more of the black soot, and then I am going to see how it looks. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to add my spritzing just so it matches the background a bit more. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to move on to the next step. So I'm now taking the negative space from when I cut the front panel, and I'm gluing that down to my card base. And then I'm going to take the black puzzle piece and inlay that, because basically I did this because the reveal wheel is a bit easier to turn when you have some lift at the back. So I wanted there to be a lifted piece, but I still wanted it to look seamless, which is why I did the galaxy background, which is going to go as my second piece at the back. But what I realized after doing this is that you can't actually see it that great unless you're really peeking in the sides of the card. So if I were to do this again, I would probably just use that background galaxy right against the card base and then do the puzzle piece in black, blend it a little bit at the sides with some Distress Oxide just so the sides look nice, and then use the normal panel on top because I think I overcomplicated this more than it needed to be, if you know what I'm saying. So moving on to the stamping, I lined up my sentiments. That little pink thing you saw me using earlier was just a template I've made to help line up my stamping so I'm in the right spots in the reveal wheel, and I am just using my anti-static powder pouch and using Versamark ink because I am using some white embossing powder. And while I was there, I did also stamp some additional sentiments that say "You are" and "Out of this world" on black cardstock. So then I'm going to put together my reveal wheel, and now I'm much more happy with how this is looking. I am going to foam tape that down, but didn't want to show it all, so I'm just going to show you what we ended up with. Now we have the wheel fully there and done. I'm finally happy with how the colors are looking, and then I have my additional sentiments that I did cut out with my guillotine trimmer, and then we are going to move on to doing the stamping and Copic coloring. So I took most of the planets from this stamp set, which is the Lawn Fawn Out of This World. It is one of my absolute favorites, and I just stamped those down with some Gina K amalgam ink because we are going to be Copic coloring these. So I am using a very fun sort of pastel mix of colors. I love to use these colors for my planets, especially when I have like a bit of a galaxy background. And I'm sticking with like purples and blues and some greens. And for most of these, I am using my usual 3 colors and going from lightest to darkest and darkest back out to lightest. But for some of the planets, because they're a bit smaller, you can definitely get away with only using 2 colors to blend. Arguably, you could use 2 colors for all of the planets, especially because they are so small. I'm just used to doing 3 color blends, so that's kind of what I did. And thank you so much to everybody who commented on my last video. I asked about keeping the coloring in versus out versus speeding it up. Again, I am still new at this. I am very much learning and happy to learn from all of your feedback of what you like and don't like in videos. And so I think what I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to leave the coloring in sped up like I usually do, but I am going to add timestamps to my description box. That way, if you want to click around to skip things or not, you're totally welcome to do that, because I know watching coloring is really therapeutic and kind of nice for some people, but others might just want to skip forward and see the actual coming together of the card. So I am going to be doing that going forward. And again, thank you for all of your advice and opinions. This card was definitely inspired by, I don't know if anybody else had those glow in the dark sort of sticky things you could put on your ceiling. I'll put a picture on the screen so you know what I'm talking about. But I am a 90s kid, and me and my best friends turned my under the stairs room into our quote unquote clubhouse, and the 3 of us could barely fit in there, but we had the whole thing covered in those things you could stick on the ceiling that would glow, the little stars. So this is what inspired this card. I'm just going to kind of lay everything out until I'm happy with it, and then I'm going to glue all of that down with my Lawn Fawn glue. I didn't want to add too much dimension because I already had the foam tape for the reveal wheel. And there is the final card. In each of the spinning elements, it says thank you in a different language because this is a thank you card, and then it says you are out of this world. I think it's super cute and whimsical, and I love all of that splattering detail in the background, and it is really shiny, but you can't really see it that great in the video. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this video and for stopping by. I would really appreciate it if you subscribed and gave this video a like. I also love to hear from you down in the comments. And of course, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram at Candoodle Creations. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!